That was a great response. And one of the things that sort of came up for me might be worth noting is that the CareStar Foundation has spent some time investing in and supporting a lot of work in local communities who are working towards standing up community-driven response models, right? So a lot of this work came out of the aftermath of George Floyd's death, and a lot of communities really rallied together to say, we want a different kind of first responder model. And many communities were saying, for example, one of the things that we'd like is we don't necessarily want law enforcement involved. We would love, however, to have more social workers and behavioral health respondents, and co-responder models are popping up all over the state of California. And at the CareStar Foundation, that's something that we're really enjoying watching, mostly because communities are speaking for themselves and demanding what they want. And I think particularly the need for more behavioral health support in a crisis is definitely feeling loud and clear. How are you all feeling about this sort of community-driven response models at EMSA, and what are your thoughts about where that journey may go?
Yeah, I think this is where, we're on the cusp of a major transformation here in California, right? And I know it'll be years in the making, but I think I would, the way that we're thinking about this, and I would be remiss not to mention, right, is the work around 988 and how all of that integrates. And I think really where EMS is at from my vantage point is really figuring out where we fit, right, in this picture. If there's this larger community response and there's mobile crisis units and all of these things, how do we make sure that the right safeguards clinically are put in, where if someone is experiencing kind of imminent, maybe life-threatening issues, that although there may be a mobile crisis unit headed that way, that we also send an ambulance or something like that, but then also recognizing if we're not needed to, keep the ambulance or the first response where it is. And so, we're in the 988 discussions, which is just so exciting, right? That agency is writing the 5-year plan, and we're excited to be on that policy advisory group and really engaging with partners statewide to help inform it. And really, that is bringing in so many folks statewide and partners saying, this was my lived experience, this didn't work. We have this in X county and it worked so well. And so I think as we're navigating those conversations, saying, well, we'll raise our hand here, we think we could be really helpful, and then saying maybe we shouldn't be a part there. And I think it's just the humility of that natural conversation that helps us find our way. But frankly, I'm excited to see the future too. I wish I had kind of something that could show it to us, but I think we're just trying to take a bite out of that elephant, one bite at a time, because it is so big and we're really hearing from folks that they want that change. To just take it even one step further, I think I'll be very on the nose. We have got to do a better job in the EMS system of measuring clinical care outcomes. And I know that this relies on a deep partnership with our hospitals and the data that they have in their systems. But at the end of the day, clinically speaking, response time standards are not important except for high acuity, high risk calls. And we know that already clinically. And so I think it becomes so important to say, instead of measuring response time standards, because maybe it's easy, right? It's easy to just click these buttons and say, we got there, we were dispatched. Did the patient actually get the care that they needed, regardless of if it was a basic life support response, an advanced life support response, an interfacility transport, aircraft mutual aid? It doesn't matter the type of response or how fast you got there, minus this one small subset of, high risk, high acuity calls. But in general, what were the clinical outcomes of the patients that we served? And I think that is a much greater assessment of equity. And so it's encouraging to see communities who are going out for exclusive operations really starting to think about these things.